Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Sciences, SOS, Master's Degree Programs. Bachelor of Science, BSCG. Skill Enhancement Courses, SEC. BCHS 183 Laboratory Management Skills. Block 1 Laboratory Organization. Unit 2 Design and Components of a Laboratory, 2.1 Introduction. We believe that you have some experience of working in laboratories, abbreviation, singular lab, plural labs, while you were in your school. Can you recall the salient features of those laboratories and how they were organized? Did you find them convenient and safe to work in, or did you feel that there was scope for improvement? Can you also recall the lab staff who were there and what duties they performed in the labs? The job of the laboratory staff is to assist in lab organization, maintenance, and in most of the lab activities. They support teachers and students in doing practical work. It is important for the lab staff to first become familiar with the infrastructure, services, ventilation, lighting of the labs. This enables them to prevent any problems from occurring in the functioning of the labs, to safely carry out repairs and to keep the labs in good condition. In the present unit, we will discuss the broad principles underlying the organization and design of a lab. We will also discuss the features of the main science lab in a school, college and the basic facilities and services provided to it in order for it to function properly and efficiently. This unit will be followed by Unit 3 that deals with specialized rooms or units called ancillary structures or just ancillaries. These ancillaries are associated with the main lab in order to provide proper help and support to it so that it functions efficiently. In general, the main labs of a discipline like biology, chemistry, physics and biochemistry would have ancillary units like a preparation room or store associated with them. In institutions where a separate preparation room or store is not available, an area in the main lab would be partitioned off or designated as preparation area or store area. Expected learning outcomes. After studying this unit, you should be able to define and describe the function of the main lab as well as the structures called ancillary structures, unit or ancillaries that are associated with it. Differentiate between a fixed and flexible lab design. List and briefly describe the common features of a lab like benching, workbenches, furniture, storage, drainage and provisions for electrical, water and gas services. Differentiate between natural and forced ventilation and explain the importance of ventilation, heating and adequate lighting in the lab, and describe the importance of quick and easy entry and exit from the laboratory and its work area. 2.2 Lab Design and Space. Laboratories have different design features which depend on the type of work or experiments that are to be performed in them. The pictures of chemistry, biology, physics, geology, psychology, biochemistry labs are shown to give you an idea of these labs. The main labs in schools and colleges are usually rectangular in shape. The typical size of a lab is somewhere between 40 and 80 square meters. Look at the screen. As can be seen in the pictures of different labs given, the space of the laboratory could be of I, fixed or E, flexible design. Let us understand the difference between the two types in the following subsections. 2.2.1 Fixed Design Laboratories. A fixed design lab is suitable for teaching institutions like schools or colleges. The general design of the lab is fixed and permanent, so changing the lab layout is not possible. As you can see in the pictures of different labs, chemistry lab is shown with a fixed design. In a fixed lab design, the benches, cupboards and services are rigidly fixed as follows. I. The lab tables, which are called benches, are firmly attached to the floor and perhaps also to the walls. E. The supply lines of the services like electricity, gas, water are usually screwed in clamped to bench legs and the underside of the fixed lab benches. 2.2.2 Flexible Design Laboratories. In flexible labs, the furniture, lab benches and supply lines of services are freestanding so that they can be easily moved. In such labs, the layout can be changed or modified. Flexible designs are quite suitable for private, multipurpose labs. For example, a physics lab has a flexible lab design. Similarly, the psychology labs have cubicles in their labs. These may also be modified as per the requirement. It is important for a lab to have adequate space within which the students can work conveniently. Ample space is required to safely conduct lab work and also for efficiency and lab maintenance. Overcrowding in the lab contributes to lab accidents. As a lab staff, you may have to calculate the number of students that can be accommodated in a given lab. The student enrollment in India is quite high in schools and therefore it is difficult to assign a lot of space to each Student, we suggest that a minimum of 2 meters bench space should be allotted per student, as this would be sufficient space for work, circulation and safety. 2.2.3 Fume cupboards. Fume cupboards are integral part of labs, specifically the chemistry labs. These are meant for carrying out reactions which may be hazardous to the people working in the lab. A typical fume cupboard is shown in Fig. 2.1. The design of a fume cupboard is very important. The fume cupboard should be such that it ensures an adequate flow of air whether its door, window is open or closed. 2.3 Benching, workbenches, storage, and furniture. The placement of workbenches in a laboratory is termed as benching. The benching arrangement in a lab determines its design layout. 2.3.1 Benching. A lab may have various possible kinds of benching arrangement, which means how work tables, benches are placed in the lab. Figure 2.2, A and B show the possible arrangements of workbenches in a lab. Fig 2.2, A shows a benching design consisting of perimeter and island benches. In this design, workbenches called perimeter benches are placed along the three sides of the perimeter of the laboratory, and island benches are placed in the middle. This arrangement allows a large number of students to use the lab and is ideal for a school or college lab. Fig 2.2, B shows only peninsular benching, in which the width side of the workbenches are fixed against one wall and the benches extend up to 2/3 of the lab space, leaving a corridor type of space at one end. This design is more useful when the batch of students is small. Look at the screen. Fig. 2.2. Possible of benching layouts in a school or college lab. A. Perimeter and island benching. B. Peninsular benching. 2.3.2 Workbenches. The bench top or work surface is provided according to the type of lab work that is to be done. In general, bench tops should be impervious to water and damage and should be resistant to disinfectants, acids, alkalis, organic solvents and moderate heat. The bench surface could be of timber, solid wood, PVC, Kota stone, granite, glazed tiles, formica or metal. The surface of the bench tops in a biology lab should be resistant to acids, alkalis and stains and should be able to withstand moderate heat. Furthermore, it should be of a material which can be easily and effectively sterilized. The work surface of a chemistry lab should also be able to withstand moderate heat and should be resistant to strong acids and alkalis or other corrosive chemicals, while the work surface of a physics lab should be of an insulated material. The bench tops of the labs without any specification can be wooden. The lab staff is expected to make sure that bench tops are not damaged by the students and are appropriately maintained. The height of the workbenches in the labs depend on the kind of work to be done. In case of a biology lab where the practicals are done in sitting position, the height of the benches are shorter in comparison to the chemistry or physics lab where practicals are conducted in standing position. However, for a lab of a particular discipline, the dimension of the workbenches both in terms of height and width is generally standard, even though most people are of a differing height and build. 2.3.3 Storage. In the main lab, good storage facilities are essential, firstly to hold supplies for immediate use, secondly to prevent clutter on bench tops and in the aisles, and thirdly for storage of apparatus and equipment which are expensive and delicate and are used often. Thus, in the main lab, only equipment and consumables required for day-to-day use are stored. An obvious exception would be specialized large equipment, like an ultracentrifuge, which may have to be housed in the lab even though it is used only occasionally. In the main lab, most of the storage area is at the bench top, under the bench and along the walls. 3. Storage units on the bench surface, under the bench and along the walls are properly planned and installed according to the nature of the lab work. The storage units may have open or closed shelves. Many shelving units in a lab are dedicated to storing chemicals. For example, in chemistry lab, open shelves are used for keeping bottles required for daily practicals, refer to chemistry lab. Open shelves are placed between two benches so students working on either bench can use them. Additional long-term storage space may be provided in a partitioned, a specially designated area within the main lab, or may be located outside the main lab in a store. All the storage furniture or units, particularly the under-bench storage units, need to be checked and cleaned periodically. Otherwise, expired or outdated chemicals and items that should have been discarded earlier get collected. It is important for the laboratory staff to inform the academic staff associated with the lab about the outdated equipments and chemicals so they can take The necessary official steps for their disposal. 2.3.4 Furniture. The main lab is also provided with office furniture such as a table and chairs, which are required for the teachers conducting the lab sessions. Nowadays, a computer table along with a computer is also provided so that teacher can give a PowerPoint demonstration or show videos that supplement the lab practical. Stools are provided in all types of labs irrespective of the fact that the student may be doing his experiments in a sitting or standing position. 2.4 Services and drainage. The services that are required in a lab include water, electricity and gas supply. Not all services are required in every lab. Electricity is required in all labs. Water and gas is usually not needed in a physics lab but is required for a biology and chemistry lab, for which gas outlets and sinks with water taps are provided at the workbenches. Some labs such as chemistry labs may also have specialized services such as steam, vacuum or compressed gases. Fume extractors may be provided in some specialized chemistry and biology labs. 2.4.1 Services. The electricity, water and gas services in both fixed and flexible labs are almost always provided by means of the flow and run along benches. Their outlets are thus, as mentioned before, fixed at the benches and so form an integral part of the lab bench. The workspace for each student would have all the service units needed for the lab practical work to be done. The walls of both a fixed and flexible lab are always fixed so that the supply lines for the services can be fixed within or on them. Within the lab, however, in case of a fixed lab, the supply of services on the benches can be by the flow or by the roof, but in case of a flexible lab which is equipped with movable service stations, services are supplied only via the flow. For safety purposes, the main switches for the control of services are located away from the lab area, generally outside the lab, so that these can be turned off with ease in case of an accident or in an emergency situation. There may be variation in the type of design or method of installation of services selected for a lab, however services are required to be installed in accordance with the recommended safety standards. The lab staff must keep in mind the location of the main switches located outside the main lab, the supply lines of the services going from the main switches to the labs, and also the main service outlets in the lab that supply the workbenches. It is important for the lab staff to inspect periodically the layout of services so that they can be properly maintained. 2.4.2 Drainage. Drainage in both fixed and flexible labs are provided at the end or sometimes in the middle of the benches. A proper drainage system is an integral part of all labs. The drainage pipes used in the lab are usually of a material which is particularly resistant to corrosion and can be readily cleaned. Faulty or clogged drainage is dangerous as it can lead to a wet flow which can be slippery and is risky for staff and students as they may fall and get hurt. Furthermore, a wet flow may also be a cause of electrocution. Therefore, the lab staff needs to periodically check the functioning of the drainage system in order to prevent clogging, which could lead to a wet flow or flooding of the lab. Clogged drains, therefore, must always be cleared immediately. 2.5 Ventilation and lighting. Ventilation, temperature conditions and lighting affect the environment of the lab. Proper ventilation and comfortable temperature and lighting are essential for health and safety as well as for efficient working in the lab. It is therefore important for the lab staff to know the provisions and connections that have been made for ventilation, heating, cooling and lighting in the lab and to ensure that they are in working order. 2.5.1 Ventilation. Indoor quality of air in the lab is essential. This is maintained by a proper ventilation system. The purpose of ventilation is to protect the students, teachers and lab staff from being overexposed to hazardous laboratory chemical fumes, excess heat due to ovens, hot plates, Bunsen burners, body heat, etc. It also controls humidity due to respiration, steam baths, etc. Working conditions that are too hot or too cold or too humidity or too dry can be extremely uncomfortable and may lead to accidents. Thus, control of all these factors by means of ventilation is important for a safe and comfortable working environment. Ventilation can be provided by I. Natural or E. Mechanical means. I. Natural ventilation. Windows are provided in the lab for ventilation, Fig. 2.5, but they provide an uncontrollable flow of air. Furthermore, air from outside which comes through the windows often brings in unwanted drafts and dust which can disturb and damage the apparatus kept on the bench tops. The unwanted drafts and dust also adversely affects the efficiency of the people working in the lab. In addition to this, windows may not be useful in extreme climatic conditions. The opening and closing of the windows are thus dependent on the factors mentioned here, mechanical or forced ventilation. In most labs therefore, even though windows are present, mechanical ventilation is provided by means of exhaust fans and or ceiling and or side fans, Fig. 2.5, or air conditioners. All these types of ventilation systems produce a more constant flow of air and avoid the problems of open windows. Exhaust fans. The exhaust fans are usually installed in the windows or above the window walls. These exhaust fans get rid of the hazardous chemical fumes, excess heat produced due to ovens, hot plates, Bunsen burners, body heat etc. and also help in controlling the humidity generated due to respiration, steam baths, etc. Installation of reversible exhaust fans provide better ventilation as they can also be used to draw in fresh air from outside, i.e., ceiling, sidewall fans. The ceiling and sidewall fans help in circulating the air within the lab and in lowering the temperature of the lab. Both these types of fans also help in reducing the humidity of the lab. Air conditioning. Air conditioning units are also an example of forced ventilation. The air conditioning units control both temperature and humidity by supplying air that has been heated, cooled, dried, dampened in a series of accurate processes. This form of control provides the most acceptable way of controlling the lab environment. However, most school and college labs may not be provided with an air conditioner as it is very expensive, though they will have fans for air circulation. Nowadays, however, some private schools and colleges may have provision for air conditioning. Generally though, air conditioning units are provided in industrial or research labs. 2.5.2 Heating. In most parts of India the winters are mild, but in areas that are very cold, heating arrangements for the lab are made by means of heaters. It is important to make sure that the heating system does not pose a danger by creating a hazardous atmosphere. Some modern air conditioning units nowadays are also able to heat the labs to the desired temperature. The lab staff has to ensure that the various ventilation systems, windows, exhaust fans, heaters and air conditioners are in working order. They should also periodically clean the windows and the various types of fans provided in the lab. 2.5.3 Lighting. We know that adequate lighting is necessary for any kind of work. Natural lighting provided in the lab by means of windows and skylights is most suitable for the lab work but is generally inadequate. Lighting in labs is thus usually supplemented by tube lights. The amount of light required in a lab depends on the design of the lab. Good illumination is required for all kinds of activity, however, extremely bright or low lights or sudden contrasts in type of lighting may lead to tired eyes, cause headaches, and increase the incidence of accidents. The position of the light sources and the types of lights installed should be such so that there is an effective distribution of light throughout the lab without there being any undesirable reflections and glare. 2.6 Access to and from the laboratory. All labs are designed in such a manner so that the lab workers are able to enter as well as exit the lab and its work area quickly, in case of an emergency. For this purpose, all the main labs as well as its associated structures, ancillaries, are provided with a minimum of 2 doors that are widely separated, so if an accident occurs near one of the doors of the lab, then the persons inside the lab can escape from the other door. Within the lab, easy movement for entry and exit of the workers is ensured by placing the benches in such a manner so that there is sufficient distance between them. In addition to this, the building housing the lab is usually provided with several escape routes. For example, the building should have more than one set of stairs and these should preferably be constructed of non-combustible material. The lab staff should ensure that the access routes both outside as well as inside the lab is not blocked or hindered in any way. This means that the cupboards, spare furniture, etc. should not be allowed to be kept in the corridors. 2.7 Security and Safety. Laboratories have expensive equipment and hazardous chemicals, and so problems associated with security and vandalism have to be taken into account. Doors should be fitted with security locks, and the rooms should be kept locked when not in use. Windows on the ground floor may also be provided with grills and locks. In all labs, escape routes are provided in case of emergencies. Refer to Unit 5 of Block 2 in CLT 101 where security measures in general as well as in relation to prevention of vandalism have been dealt in greater detail. 2.8 Summary. A science laboratory of any discipline is used for practical work or demonstrations or any other that help to explain and support theoretical Concepts. Schools and colleges usually have separate main laboratories for chemistry, physics, and biology. There are labs meant for other science disciplines like biochemistry, geology, geography, and social science like psychology and anthropology. The main lab of a discipline like biology, chemistry, and physics would have ancillary units like a preparation room or store associated with them. These ancillaries provide proper help and support to the main lab so that it functions efficiently. In institutions where a separate preparation room or store is not available, an area in the main lab would be partitioned off or designated as preparation area or store area. The layout design of a lab may be of I, fixed or E, flexible type. In fixed lab design, the workbenches and service lines are fixed to the walls or and floor, and so the placement of the workbenches is fixed, while in flexible design the workbenches can be moved. The general features of the main lab of any discipline include the type of benching, the dimensions of the workbenches, which depend on the type of practicals to be conducted, and various kinds of storage facilities, furniture and computer. Electricity, water and gas are the important services that are provided to a lab. Outlets of these services are given at the surface of the workbenches. Labs of all discipline are supplied with electricity. Water and gas may not be needed in labs of some discipline. Drainage is an important aspect of labs that are provided with water supply, and so drains should be kept clean in order to prevent overflow. Ventilation, temperature conditions and lighting affect the environment of the lab. Proper ventilation, comfortable temperature and lighting are essential for health and safety as well as for efficient working in the lab. It is therefore important for the lab staff to know the provisions and connections that have been made for ventilation, heating, cooling and lighting in the lab, and to ensure that they are in working order. Heating is essential in labs that are in very cold areas. Heating arrangements for the lab are made by means of heaters. Nowadays some modern air conditioning units are also able to heat the labs to the desired temperature. Adequate lighting is necessary for all kinds of work. Natural lighting in the lab is provided by windows and skylights and is most suitable for the lab work, but it is generally inadequate. Good illumination is required for all types of practical activities. In any lab, work involving noxious fumes is carried out in a fume cupboard. All labs are designed in such a manner so that the lab workers are able to enter as well as exit the lab and its work area quickly in case of an emergency. For this purpose, all the main labs as well as its associated structures, ancillaries, are provided with a minimum of 2 doors that are widely separated. The lab staff should ensure that the entry and exit points, both outside as well as inside the lab, are not be blocked or hindered in any way. Laboratories have expensive equipment and hazardous chemicals and so should be secure. In order to keep the lab premises secure and to prevent vandalism, the lab doors are fitted with security locks, and the labs are kept locked when not in use. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with the next chapter.